Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Transform Now podcast. I'm your host, Michael Marchuk.
And I'm Brad Hairston.
And this is our weekly pulse check of AI and automation news. As we do every week, we cover a few articles. And this week is no different. We've got 4 articles for you to check in. So with that, Brad, are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Excellent. Okay. So you have heard about the whole Neuralink thing, right? It's the brain implant chip that was developed by Elon Musk's company, Neuralink, to help folks who may not have their abilities or faculties to be able to work with their hands or feet or whatever because they've been paralyzed or whatnot. And some interesting news came out this week from a site called Interesting Engineering. And it's a story talking about how this woman who's paralyzed was able to write her name. So the article's titled, Paralyzed Woman Writes Her Name After 20 Years, Thanks to Elon Musk's Brain Chip. So, Brad, tell us what you think about this.
I think this is completely amazing. Every time I see a new advancement in this area, between AI and the intersection of AI and healthcare, I'm just blown away. And this one is no exception. So Neuralink, for those that don't know, was launched back in 2016 by Elon Musk and a team of 8 scientists and engineers. And last year, they came forward with their first brain-computer interface, which just saying that is interesting enough. So they launched it. It's the first implantable brain-computer interface, and in this case, it's enabling. In this story's case, it's enabling telepathy. So this woman, let me find her name, Audrey Cruz, who's been paralyzed for over 2 decades, with the chip implanted in her brain, she was able to, essentially on an iPad, she was able to write her name just using her brain. Just thinking about writing her name, she was able to do it, which is amazing. Now, she's not the only one. There's another person who, in this case, has ALS. His name is Nick Ray. He has also been given the implant, and he has seen remarkable things as well. So these are 2 really good proof points that have come out. And by the way, the article talks about this, but to get this implant, they drill a hole in your skull and they place 128 threads directly into your motor cortex. And the chip itself is about the size of a quarter. So that's very interesting, what it takes to get it in there and the size and the shape of it. Michael, I did a little research I went to the Neuralink site because I was interested in learning more. On the site, it says, Elon Musk says that the goal of Neuralink is to create a symbiotic relationship between humans and AI, helping humans keep up with rapidly advancing AI by integrating with it rather than competing against it. Now, integrating with it means different things to different people. I don't think everyone jumps to the conclusion that we all need to get chips implanted in our brain. But in this case, with a couple of people that have, serious health challenges, I think it's remarkable what it's doing. They have projected other uses of this technology beyond just this ability to, assist with communication, for people with ALS or other communication challenges. They're thinking that this Neuralink can help with mobility. You and I covered a story months ago about somewhere in Europe, I forget where, but they've enabled people that are paralyzed to actually move their limbs by thinking about it. Again, uses a chip on the brain that's connected to an AI engine that allows that to happen. They're also thinking Neuralink can play a role in treating neurological disorders, restoring sensory functions, And then there's some really bizarre use cases that make you really stretch your brain. There's the idea that you could bypass headsets and screens for fully immersive virtual reality or augmented reality experiences that are directly into the brain. And there's also the idea that maybe you could record and play back memories or even transfer them between individuals. I mean, this is science fiction stuff. In fact, I seem to remember some of that. Maybe it's Inception.
How many movies has this been part of? Because I'm thinking through, and I know I've got 3 or 4 that I've thought about. Just from the brief moment as you've been talking about this.
Yes, so, Inception's what came to mind for me. It's all cool stuff. I think the anyone hearing all this is, or not anyone, but most people hearing this kind of stuff immediately start thinking about the moral and ethical implications of this kind of technology. And I think we need to just cherish and appreciate what has been done for this woman who is paralyzed, and then this man with ALS. And I think it's very noble what they're doing in that particular situation. And I hope many other people that are paralyzed or have communication challenges can take advantage of it. We'll let the focus be there, and then we'll think about all the science fiction kind of stuff later. But yeah, it's a fascinating story.
It sure is. So first thought was Johnny Mnemonic, where there was the wet wire concept. Of course, The Matrix, where that was a fully immersive AI simulation.
Of course.
And then just the ability for the movement, whatever, the movie Upgrade came to mind, which is yet another one where you're, again, all great technology to actually help people. But my mind always drifts to the movies where I've seen it used in completely other ways. So anyway, we'll get past that and we'll go on to our next article. This article is from IT Pro Today, and the article is titled AI and Automation Talent Demands Double as Tech Hiring Slows. Okay, so less and less technology folks are being hired in. However, they're seeing the demand for very specific technology as we're going forward. So this is something that we typically see during any kind of transition from one thing to another. I imagine in the early days of going from DOS to Windows programmers were very much in demand as DOS programmers kind of had to upskill and move on to the next thing. So there weren't as many needed there. And so I see this as a similar type of function where AI and automation, as we've seen, has really been something that organizations are grabbing hold of and require people to be able to integrate, not because the technology itself is difficult, but because the application of it to your business requires some pretty specific skill sets. So walk us through that.
Yeah. So it's not surprising that AI automation demand has increased. I wouldn't necessarily have thought it would have doubled in the time frame here, but it has, and this happened while IT and tech role fills have contracted. So the AI and automation demand is I think increasing because AI continues to be a bigger and bigger part of most companies' strategy and their technology roadmap. Also, it mentions in the article, total job fills across all sectors rose by 7%. So AI and automation are gaining share regardless of the broader, macroeconomic conditions. I think there's a couple people, experts referenced in the article that draw some conclusions from all of this. They're saying that, enterprises are refocusing their role profiles toward things like data management and engineering. So they're focused on, taking what they have done and making it better and expanding on it, versus, necessarily new, experimentation or POCs or things like that. So there's also an expert referenced in the article that says The current workforce is looking for AI literacy, automation fluency, and more specialized skills, more engineering capabilities to support robust AI deployment. We know from and we've had lots of articles speaking to this, that there's too many POCs, there's not enough full deployments, things going to production.
Exactly.
And so I think this is a byproduct of that. I think companies want more skilled resources that can help them get more of these POCs across the line. And so, yeah, I'm not overly surprised, and I think this trend will continue for some time.
Yeah, I would agree. And as we go talk about demand for specific types of talent, AI has been something that's been applied across every type of job, every type of role within an organization. But Fortune magazine here has an article that may has a different outtake on this one. So our title of this one is AI might make workers faster, but not necessarily more productive. They do it faster, then go for coffee breaks. So Brad, I imagine your coffee intake has probably doubled or more since AI has been released, given the fact that we are now so efficient that we can just take more coffee breaks. Is that what you're seeing in terms of either your role or those that you know of?
I would like more time to drink coffee because I love coffee so much. My body probably couldn't handle it. I'd have to run around the block.
Double the coffee breaks and then double the bathroom breaks.
Exactly. This comment, and by the way, this came from a panel discussion at this event in Singapore, and the person that made that comment was, I think, trying to just be
a little provocative.
Like, hey, sure, we're getting increases in productivity, but people aren't using that in the right way, and I don't think it's an inaccurate comment. In fact, we heard this from a woman named Kelly Monahan, who's a future of work expert. She was on the podcast a few months ago, and she said that in her research, she found that knowledge workers were seeing about a 24 to 25% increase in available time from AI and as it became more and more prominent in their work. But she said the number one thing people were doing with all that extra time is more busy work. So they weren't doing a lot of higher value, higher level thinking type activities, which is what we all espouse as some of the benefit, right, of automation and AI, is get rid of the busy work, focus on higher level, more valuable work that requires your innate human skills. Right. And Kelly's research says that's not happening consistently. And I think that's what this person is saying. So, what are the missing links? I think someone else on the panel pointed to, we need to reinvent work. We don't just need to make it more productive for every individual. We need to reinvent what they do. We need to change it completely. So that is most likely not happening at scale across most companies. There's also the fact that we're not upskilling people. We're not teaching them how to do new things that are more enjoyable, that are higher level thinking. A few weeks ago, we talked about higher ed and how there's more emphasis now on critical thinking and adaptability and teaching people entering the workforce to do those things, which is great. And I think that's what's needed, more of that. We need to prepare the next generation of workers for a highly AI-centric economy. I think this observation, as humorous as it was, is right on point. And I think we have to find ways to upskill everyone. There is nobody that's not in need of some upskilling. And I don't think that's going to change. I think we're going to need to continually upskill and learn new things every single day for the rest of our lives, as long as you're working. Well, even beyond work, you need to continue to do that. Keep your brain active, keep yourself engaged. And I think companies will benefit from every bit of that.
I would agree. This is one of those those challenges that in an organization, from an organizational design perspective, but also from a management perspective, obviously the push is to become more efficient and effective. And we're seeing that with all the automation and the AI that are being applied. But to your point, and to the person's point here, is if we left those job roles alone and we were able to get more efficient work out of that same worker doing that particular job, that naturally frees up other time. And
That's
if
right.
that other time isn't used to upskill and reskill and redefine that role, then it would naturally lead to additional time that's wasted. And so if it's coffee breaks like this or whatnot, now the counterman to that argument, or counter argument to that is, if workers are feeling too stressed in their current role, and now they've finally gotten a break because they've gotten AI and automation to help offload some of the extra work, then perhaps this is more a mental health break than it is someone just slacking. So I'm guessing there's a balance in there somewhere, though, where allowing AI and automation to provide a more balanced work-life experience, with still increasing not only their workers' skills, but also the output for the organization that's paying them. I think there's a balance in there somewhere. And I am hoping that we can find that balance and not just have the workers take advantage of it, or the company take advantage of it, because as we say, you make more time, that means there's more to do, and you'll get more activities lumped on top of you. So I know there's a balance in there. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to go. So our final article today is from Tom's Hardware, which actually is one of my favorite websites. The article is entitled, "Chinese Companies Allegedly Smuggle in $1 billion Worth of NVIDIA Chips in the Last 3 Months, Despite Increased Export Controls. And some companies are already flaunting future B300 availability," which of course is their high-end, NVIDIA's high-end chip. So it seems as though we're having an interesting smuggling operation going on. Instead of drugs, we're actually, or other contraband, we're seeing chips being smuggled into China. And what are your thoughts on this interesting turn of events?
I'm so surprised by this, Michael. I just can't believe that smuggling is happening into China, of all places.
Say it's not so.
So I guess the question I have, who regulates export controls and things like that? Is that the Department of Commerce? Probably. I would think so. The U.S. Department of Commerce. Well, they're clearly too busy putting tariffs on every imported good. So maybe they've turned a blind eye to this. But yeah, the smuggling is pretty prolific. It's so prolific that some companies in China, as the article says, they're advertising that they have these smuggled illegal products.
Now, I just want to know, is there a guy on the street corner who opens up his trench coat and has these B300 CPUs? Like, which B300 CPU would you like? I've got B200s on this side and 300s on this side. Which one do you want?
Yeah. It's really crazy. I mean, it's illegal for U.S. citizens or U.S. companies to export them. But once they get to China, through illegal means, obviously, once they get to China, China has no regulations about it. So yeah, they can advertise and, promote the idea that they have all this stuff. So, and it's happening. Now it seems to have been dying down a little bit, the demand, because now the U.S. is starting to loosen their restrictions a little bit, and President Trump has said he will allow certain like H20 GPUs to be launched, but apparently the B200 and then the B300, which are still the highest performing models, those are the ones that the Chinese companies and others that are using the black market to procure them, those are the ones they want. It's said that the sellers of those banned products are getting about a 50% premium.
So they're already expensive to start with, and yet now they're getting a 50% on top of that. So obviously the price performance is there where these organizations who are purchasing them in China, they really want them.
They do. And what's really interesting too is NVIDIA's CEO, he's against the ban. He's against the export controls. And he feels like all they're doing is they're encouraging China to build their own and eventually challenge the dominance of his company and other American companies. So he's in favor of no export controls. So yeah, I understand his point of view. That's just, it's you would say minimizing his marketability, to all the world markets. Not that he needs more sales. I think he's, his revenue is bigger than how many different countries around the world. I mean, it's insane, what they're doing.
What this says to me, though, is that if companies are willing to pay 50% more in China, then perhaps they can start charging more if in fact the bans get lifted. The pricing seems like they have some way to go to get more profit out of that too.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt.
Interesting. Well, that's all the articles we have for this time on our Pulse Check. But Brad, we have a great guest every week that people can tune into and hear more about the world of AI and automation. And of course, every week at the end of the week, we have our Pulse Check. So I hope you all join us next time on our Pulse Check. Until then, have a great day.